Justice has come.
Hey guys, Sidewinder back here for Starcraft 2 Radio. We're on for Friday, which is the 16th of September, and I have a special guest with me tonight. It is GosuKyhol from It's Gosu. How's it going, man?
It's going well.
Sounds good. So, obviously you are from It's Gosu. Tell us a little bit about your team, how that all operates, as far as who other players are on your team, what kind of practice schedules you guys have, stuff like that.
All right, well, I'll go back to when I actually joined the team, which was, I guess, 9 or 10 months, when we were actually called All for One Gaming, and I joined them rather than, like, I had an offer from a few other teams like Complexity, and they were better offers. Like, the Complexity offered me, like, money per month, and All for One Gaming didn't, but I was looking for something specific in a team that I thought could go to the top and be one of the best teams in North America. And I knew that Complexity couldn't at that time, and I still think that they're not. So I decided to go with All for One Gaming. And I've been happy here ever since, but it's been a lot of work, especially when I didn't have a good computer. They actually helped me out and bought me a new computer and all that good stuff. So now I can play.
That's
but
cool.
We have like a pretty good lineup of players, a lot of diversity. We have like ridiculous cheesers like Namshur and Wannabe Cool and Huang Xin. And then we have incredible macro players like Osto G, and I'm sure there's other ones. I just can't think of any right now. I'm pretty good at macro. That's pretty much what I am. I'm macro oriented.
So tell us what a day in the life of GosuKyhol is like in terms of StarCraft. Like, do you guys get on and practice with each other often, or is it more laddering? How does that all work?
Well, right now, excuse me. Right now, it's worked out that none of us really practice with each other, and it's been that way for as long as I can remember. In about mid-October or mid-September, no, not mid-September, it is mid-September, so mid-October, we should all have practice schedules from our management, because they've been talking to us and they're going to they're working through some things right now, and then we are actually going to be on practice schedules. But I already have my own practice schedule set up. I don't know about everyone else, but I wake up, I work out, I eat, and then I get into it, man. I practice as hard as I can every day, and it's been like that for almost 2 months. I've been working really, really hard, probably like 40 games a day.
Wow, that's actually a lot. I don't think people really understand how much gaming that actually is.
Well, it's like 10-hour days, maybe 11 or 12, depending on like my stamina. And then there's days I go get drunk with my friends, and then that puts me behind like a day or two. But that's just the way it is. Hangovers are gross.
Yeah, they're definitely no fun.
No, they're not.
So in terms of StarCraft 2 in relation to other stuff you might have going on, is StarCraft 2 just kind of your main focus right now, or are you going to school on the side, or what else are you doing besides StarCraft nowadays?
Well, the idea right now is just a StarCraft. That's what I've been doing for about 2 months. I was in school. I've been out of school for about a year. I haven't graduated or anything like that. Well, I mean, I graduated high school, but I'm talking about university. I've only done 1 year in university, and I intend to go back, but after November is when I make all my other life decisions. Like, from here until I go to Providence, all I'll be living is StarCraft, and that's been my decision and my goal. And then after that, I decide: do I go back to school? Do I put more time into StarCraft? Like, where am I? Because I've worked so hard, and no one has really noticed me. But as a player, I'm growing so much. I'm getting so much better. I'm beating Code S and Code A players every day on the Korean server. They make me work really, really hard when I play against these players, and all it does is benefit me. So pretty much, I'll find out after November where I'm going to take my life.
Guess that's a interesting approach. We were talking a little bit before the show started. You saying you'd never been to a land before. What do you expect out of Providence when you go?
When I go, I expect to do well. I'm just going to play as hard as I can, and I'm going to have the mindset which I have now that I'm going to destroy every player that I play against. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be a top Korean player. It could be a foreigner. I don't have fear when it comes to playing people. If anything, if I'm playing someone better, I will step up to the plate and play much better than I normally will because I know I want to beat them, and that's pretty much it. Like I beat these top players all the time, so when I get to Providence, it's going to be a great experience with my team, and like it's going to be cool to meet them. But I'm not going there to make friends. I'm going there to win and get as far as I possibly can, and that's pretty much it. I want to make it to pool play.
Nice, man. I really love that attitude, to be totally honest with you, because there's so many people right now around the community, whether it's just regular ladder players or whatever, that are just getting like so discouraged because their play slipping or whatever. So it's awesome to hear somebody that's finally just like, no, I'm just going to go there and win and play well, and I'm not afraid of anybody. So that's a really nice approach that you have to the game. I really love that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that it takes a lot of determination. Like you have to forget or you have to remember that everybody loses, and when you lose, like every time I lose, I go through the game in my head and I go through every little thing that could have went wrong, what actually did go wrong, and then think of other scenarios that could have fixed it, or do I need to completely alter the build, or just because I saw this, like two gas, or for example, or he mined 50 more gas than normal, like do I have to change something because of that? I go over everything in my mind.
So when you're
Yeah.
actually playing, are you more of a reactionary player, or are you a more aggressive player, or what? How would you define your playstyle if you had to?
Well, I don't know. It all depends on the build I'm using because I can do aggressive builds. I do them a lot, especially against Zerg because if you're not aggressive against Zerg, well, you die. The You have to be aggressive against a Zerg player. You have to keep attacking and making sure they can't drone up. But in general, I'm more of a macro player. I am reactionary, but I follow a specific path. And if I notice that you've made a mistake, like your army composition is bad or like you're teching too fast, I'll kill you. That's just the way it is, and that's your fault. But yeah, pretty much I just try to like get everything I need to get and keep going, you know? So macro.
So what are your goals in terms of StarCraft 2? I know for right now it's just play as hard as you can, see what you do in Providence, but ideally, where would you like to go in terms of, I don't want to say joining different teams, like more recognizable, maybe even Korean-owned teams or whatever, but what are your goals in StarCraft 2? Let's say if you have a really good showing at Providence, which I'm sure everybody here hopes that you do, what are your goals in StarCraft 2 after that point?
I'm gonna have to think of it then. Like my goal right now, and it's the only goal I have, is practice my ass off, get there, win, 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 and just have this determination that I've had for 2 months. I think the first month of the like building this determination was the hardest, but now it's like I'll practice every day and I won't stray from that practice. I'll be like, okay, I got this. I have to work hard, but like I don't have a goal after that. I may quit. I may play poker again. I don't know. Who knows? But in November I'll know after I play. If I bomb out and do absolutely terrible, maybe I'll quit. Or if I have a good showing, which I really think I will, then maybe I continue. Hopefully, I can bring better sponsors to the team, and we can all benefit from winning, from me winning.
Do you have a definition of what you would say is a really good showing at Providence, or is it just you'll kind of decide after it's over?
Getting the pool play and beating Koreans, or knocking Koreans out of the open bracket, and then keep going. I don't even want to lose a game. I just wanted I wanted to just destroy everyone. I've been working on these builds that I'm doing and finding out, what builds are strong, what builds aren't, and
So
I don't know.
if you're preparing certain builds for, say, tournament play, are these kinds of things you're going to hold back from streaming when you do stream, or is it just kind of stuff that people are going to know is out there, and if they do their homework, they can kind of study up on it? Do you kind of hold yourself back on streaming a little bit?
Well, where I'm reactionary, I don't. It doesn't matter to me at all. I could care less if somebody knows what build I'm going to do because I'm going to do it so well that you're still going to fail. when I do it to you. It doesn't matter. Like you can try to do a counter to it or whatever, but if I notice anything that you're changing, I'm going to change as well. So it's not going to be as easy as, oh, I'll directly counter his play. Like I'm bigger than that. It's going to be much harder than to just figure out my builds and beat me like that.
I love that attitude, man. I can't say that enough. I love your attitude when approaching the game like this from a pro player because there's so many players that just kind of take their position lightly. And I think if a lot of other players had the determination you did, it would really help out the foreign scene in particular. But that's just kind of my own observations.
Mhm.
What do you think of that?
Oh, I like it. I like the praise you just gave me, but yeah, I don't know, man. That's all I can do. Like I need this like if I'm not determined while I'm playing, then I won't even play. I don't see a point. Like especially for what I want to do. I want to be the best Terran in Canada, and right now the only person I see better than me is DDE, and that's a feather away from where what I am right now.
So, what do you
Um,
think would make you the best Terran in Canada if you say you're the second best right now?
if I could play him in like a best of seven and I beat him 4-0, then I'd say I'm better than him.
Well, that would be pretty defining. We'll have to see if we
Yeah.
can get some kind of a show match arranged between you two. That would be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I would enjoy it too, especially because my Terran versus Terran is pretty scary right now. I beat Keen today. I beat Keen like last week, and his Terran is one of the best Terran versus Terrans apparently in the GSL. And I beat all the top North American Koreans, like the people like Rain who play on Korea and Artist and some other people.
Well, in terms of Keen, that's interesting that you brought him up. I actually think, in terms of evolving the metagame, he's one of the leaders over in Korea, and at least doing that in show matches, or rather not show matches, but TV matches. I don't know about what he looks like on the ladder, but that's something I really noticed. So,
Hmm.
how do you feel like your grasp is on the current metagame on every different region that you play in? Because I mean, you play in Korea, obviously, if you're playing Keen. You
Hmm.
probably also play in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, and in the U.S. So,
That's right.
how do you think your grasp is on the metagame of how it's evolving in all three of those regions?
Well, I think I think that overall Korea is a better server to play on just because like they play better, especially the Zergs. The Zergs on North America that I play are awful. Like and I don't mean that to offend them. They just need to practice harder and you had to work really hard to be really good at this game. They must not be working hard enough or they're not doing it correct. But yeah, like I'm not even sure. Like people do a lot of all-ins on North America, and they're really bad all-ins. You know what I mean? Like I play a lot of Terran versus Terrans, and they'll do these random stupid all-ins, or they'll try to like over-aggress with their Hellion drops, and then like go Banshee directly into Hellion drop without even expanding, and try to beat me like that, or just like do these crazy all-ins. But I'm a very standard player, and if I absorb that, and you don't really damage me, then I'm gonna take the upper hand because I fast expand. But I don't really know if that answers your question.
No, that answers it perfectly. In terms of what would make a better Zerg player in North America versus Korea, what are the biggest differences that you could kind of point out for us?
I think it's the larva management, which actually is their economy management, because larva being that's either units or drones. They need to like learn how to use that much more effectively. Because I find they'll like build all these units and then like half like semi all in mid game with like mutas, lings, and banelings, and then they don't have a tech path for later. They get the upgrades and stuff, and that's fine, but you're like overproducing units, and then you're not doing proper counter attacks. Uh, I don't know, and their play overall just seems poor. But there's certain players I think that are good. Like Slush is decent. He always has a good showing at MLG, and
Yeah, what's with that? People never talk about Slush, but he always plays exceptionally well, and I don't know why he doesn't get the recognition that he deserves.
I don't know. Maybe it's the name. Maybe not, but I have no idea. He's a great player, and if people aren't giving him recognition, well, they should. He has the results, and
So,
uh,
who do you think is the best Zerg on the North American server, or at least, I guess, residing in North America? Because people from all different realms play on the North American server from time to time. Who do you think's the best North American Zerg right now?
Wow. Well, Adra would have to be the best, but he sucks when anybody cheeses him. He just tilts instantly. If like, it's like my teammate Namshur played him in a clan war, and he double nine racks Adra or Idra or Adra, however you want to pronounce it, and then Adra loses and then freaks out and then completely tilts and loses the next game, loses the clan war match. So it's like, yes, Adra's a really good macro player, but he also has terrible early game. So.
So if you fight him on the ladder, do you ever kind of metagame him a little bit and try to, get underneath his skin, or you just play straight up against him to kind of test your own skill?
Uh, well, I don't know. I have
Or does it just kind of
in
depend
the
on?
recent games, I play straight up against him, but I haven't played him in over a month, I think, or maybe a month and a half. So back then, I wasn't that good, but like I'd still beat him with my two racks whenever we'd play. It didn't even matter what map it was on. He's better than that. I don't know why he doesn't spend a lot of time learning how to defend it properly, and he loses to people who he's better than, and it just doesn't make sense to me. He has a poor attitude when it comes to learning that aspect of the game, I think.
Considering he's been around the pro scene for so long, do you think he might be kind of getting tired of it a little bit? Because I don't think that Idra's always been as bad as he is lately. What are
Mhm.
your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right. Um, but I don't really know what to say about the guy. Like he could be getting tired of it, or that's probably it. Like there's a lot of fatigue in what he does, and I think he really sucks at controlling his emotions. Like I know how like you get emotional with StarCraft. I get extremely mad with the game, but I just like fuel that anger into my play, making it perfect. Like that's what I try to do. And if I still lose with it, then I'm like, yes, that's gonna frustrate me, but I won't. Like I used to flip out, but I don't do it anymore. I just kind of just review my play in my head. That's all I can do, I guess. But I don't know what to say about the guy. He's sort of I'd say a joke, but I wouldn't. I don't want to really call him that.
Well, I don't know. I don't. I think everything that needs to be said about Idra has been said. So,
That's right.
while we're on the subject, let me ask you: who do you think the best Terran is in the North American server, and who do you think the best Protoss is?
Uh, I think Juan, Six Jacks Major, Gozy Terran. I think he's the best Terran on the server right now. Who doesn't live in Korea, no, who resides in North America. And the best Protoss? Damn, I
Protoss has
don't
kind of
know.
in a hole lately, so this may be a weird
Yeah.
question. And I think all the top Protosses in North America really fluctuate back and forth. So,
Mhm. It could be Gosu Gated, my teammate. But I don't know. There's specific parts of his game that I don't think are good. So I don't really know. Like who else in North America is really good? Like a really
well,
good
there's
Protoss.
I guess Kiwi Kaki really bounces up and down. He finished really
Yeah.
well at the last MLG.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is quite a lack of players out there. I guess TT1 is also, I believe he's Canadian as well.
Yeah, he is Canadian. Yeah, I guess Kiwi Kaki then. He has really strong timings and his builds are well thought out. But he does play Protoss, so it's hard for him to win and anything. And his Protoss have not been doing well. And I think with the buffs coming, they should do a lot better. Just like the Immortal buff alone is huge. Immortals with 6 range instead of 5, I think that's what it is. That's pretty big, and I think that's going to change the matchup a bit. Hopefully, people go Immortals more, so I can go Ghosts more often.
So at that high level against Protoss, you see people going for more like Colossus tech, or do you see them teching the High Templars faster, or what do you see typically out of Protoss players? And I'm asking mainly because Protoss players are struggling so badly right now in the
Hmm.
metagame or game balance or whatever you want to say about it. What do you typically see out of them, and what's harder to deal with as a Terran player?
I see everything. Like it's crazy. I see every type of all in a Protoss can throw at you, like throughout the day. Void Rays, especially DTs. Like the trick that the Korean Protosses have is, I'll cheese him. I'll go 4 gate and I'll go directly into DT, so he won't see it coming. Well, yes, I do see it coming and I beat it, but it's just crazy. Like oh man. But I think the proper way to do it is get a bunch of early sentries, maybe like 4 sentries So you go, Stalker, Sentry, and then get a few other sentries, and then let the energy build up so you can do really good defense with your force fields, and then you can do offensive force fields as well. But you don't want to overcommit. I think if you're going to do a proper offense, you're going to need Immortals in your composition, or you can go for Colossus timing, which is decent, but I don't think the Colossus timing rush is as strong as, let's say, an Immortal timing rush. I don't know. That's why Immortals, I think, are going to be so good with the range buff because they won't be like running in the back so often, because they kind of like clump up with the units and can't get their shots in.
Yeah, it's true. And especially if people will start balancing their spending a little better, considering if you can have you're kind of focusing your targets, I think that Immortal Timings will get super, super strong. So beyond that, where do you see the metagame kind of going after this next patch goes live in terms of pretty much every Terran versus whatever matchup? What do you expect to see more? What do you expect to see less?
Um, I don't think Terran versus Zerg is going to change much. It should be the exact same thing. Infestors won't be as good when you have, I think it's like 9 less damage in total or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but Marines will be a bit stronger with the Medivacs. They won't die so easily from the fungals, so that's good. But it's not really a huge nerf. It doesn't really change too much, so that matchup's going to stay the same. Uh, Unless I'm missing some different nerfs. Yes, the mech in the Terran mech is going to be a bit better now because the infestors are going to have to be closer to mind control Thors away from the tanks. But the infestors will always be in tank range now unless the Thors are really far away. So it's going to be much easier to snipe those infestors controlling your Thors. So that I think that really helps Protoss as well. But I'm not even talking about that. So that's that matchup. I think that's the only thing that's really going to change. Zerg fighting against Mech. And in Terran versus Protoss, I think people should go for more Immortals. I think that's a stronger way to play anyways. Like it's very good for defense, it's very good for offense. You just can't overproduce Immortals. You don't want to have an incredible amount of them because then when I EMP your whole army, they're kind of useless. Well, not useless, but they're not that good. So I don't really know. Like time will tell, and I'll be around to see it.
You think the Hellion nerf is going to change Terran versus Terran too much, or do you not see as much as that as people may see on TV?
People tend to think it's going to be a huge deal, but now you just drop 3 Hellions instead of 2, and 3 Hellions is more dangerous than 2 Hellions anyways. So it's kind of like it's not the biggest deal, but it does help in every matchup because it's kind of ridiculous for a Terran to drop 2 Hellions in your base, and it has the potential to kill every single worker you have
Yeah.
in seconds. Having, I think the buff or the nerf, will help every race a lot, except for Protoss because nobody really goes blue flame trap against Protoss. In Terran versus Terran, everyone's still going to be going mech. Maybe Bio gets a little bit better, but Bio still has a lot of weaknesses. It's strong in the mid game, but as soon as the mech Terran gets maxed and has a proper unit composition, it's hard for you to engage, man. It's hard for you even to drop him. It's very hard for you to drop him because he's going to have turrets everywhere. He's going to have a few Vikings, and even if you do, he has mobile Hellions. And if you get units in his base anyways, all the drop ships die, so you end up getting like less than half the amount of units you wanted to get in. So it doesn't really change much.
Lately in Terran versus Terran in particular, I actually really love that matchup. I'm not even a Terran player mainly. I just love seeing it so much because it's such a diverse matchup. How do you think Sky Terran is going to continue to evolve over the next, say, month or two?
I think it's going to become. Uh, it should be used more, I think. Like, not directly Sky Terran, but easing into Sky Terran with, like, tanks, Hellions, and then accompanied with that would be, your Banshees, Vikings, and Ravens. I think that's a really good play style. So you kind of just ease into the Sky Terran. So late game, you'll have, like, 5 starports, 5 factories. But it's not really good. Well, actually, it could evolve a bit with the new Hunter Seeker missile buff.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty sick. Like Viking on Viking wars are going to be completely changed by really good Hunter Seeker missiles because you'll be like, good, I have air control, and then he'll throw down 2-point defense drones, and you're like, Okay, and then boom, a bunch of hunter seeker missiles blow up your entire air army, and then he can just switch directly to battle cruisers or go mass banshees, and he has air control. What are you gonna do? Go mass Thor? Like Thors aren't that good at shooting air when point defense drones are down.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the end game of Terran versus Terran. I wish the other races would get to that point. Zerg versus Zerg kind of is in the sense that people are starting to figure out that they can go back to Spires safely, but Protoss versus Protoss especially seems kind of like the kid that gets picked last in dodgeball. It seems like it's just never going to come around. What do you think would help develop that matchup a little more? Does it
Well, I
need new units, or does it need changes, or does it just need time to develop?
It does need time. It's getting the changes. I think the big changes right now are like the force field at the bottom of the ramp. They can't see the vision up the ramp, so they can't blink into the base. So that's going to change a lot, as well as the immortal range. Maybe it will help Protosses engage Colossus better. Who knows? I think that that's going to change the matchup, but it may take an expansion to fix that matchup totally. You know, like Blizzard's probably working on that right now. It's like, oh, we messed up so bad, guys. Who would have thought we'd screw up Protoss versus Protoss so bad? So they're probably putting a lot of time and effort into fixing that for the expansion. But who knows, man? Time will tell. It's not like Brood War was balanced, you know,
Yeah.
in like 4 years. It was like 7 years until it was balanced, or maybe 10. I don't even know.
So in terms of the longevity of StarCraft 2, how long do you think that it's going to be going as kind of the center stage esports game? Or do you think other games are going to kind of pick at it just because there's so much expansion right now? Do you think StarCraft 2 is going to stand strong for a while, or do you think it's going to be
Yeah.
the kind of the product of being vultured a little bit by other games?
I think that well, StarCraft is going to stand strong, especially when like they have expansion after expansion after expansion coming out, and like the units are going to change. The whole game is going to change. It's not going to be the same, and that's exciting. You know, just having such massive changes that are going to go on with new units and new mechanics. I think they're changing the mule mechanic in Heart of the Swarm, but you know, don't take that from me. Just something I heard.
Well, what did you
Uh,
specifically hear?
I don't remember, but I remember that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. It's like, yeah, they're changing the mule mechanic. They're giving Terran a different mechanic. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, but who knows if that's true or not? I've heard other things that were total lies, so I don't want to lie to you, but I guess I may have. But yeah, StarCraft 2 will live. There's no unless there's like another really good RTS game with like really good promotions and stuff, but I don't see another RTS game taking out StarCraft, and I don't see like Dota or LOL or even like Battlefield 3 when it comes out taking over StarCraft. Nothing.
LOL. You think that name acronym was intentional by them?
I hope so. I like that. Well, it makes it confusing sometimes because like I'm gonna go play LOL. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I've never played LOL, by the way. I've
I don't
played.
even know if I've ever seen it, to be honest.
It's like Dota if you've played Dota. I haven't played Dota either, but I've watched it.
Yeah.
You
I
like run
don't,
around with heroes. So it's like Warcraft 3.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So, jumping around just a little bit, considering you do play on all these different realms, most people say Korean's hardest, then Europe, then North America.
hmm
Who are some people on, say, every server that you run into where as soon as the game loads up, you're, I don't want to say uneasy, but that you notice that you kind of have a little bit of a hard time against? Or is it just kind of steady straight across?
Um, there's no one who I really say, oh damn, like I'm screwed. I can't win this game. Every time I see someone good, I'm like, yes, I can test myself. Finally, someone who's actually good instead of these random people who I consider to not be that strong. But like I played a bunch of games versus Leenock today, and man, that guy is scary. It's crazy. I had to work so hard to beat him, and it's weird too because like I play so good in the early mid game, and I'm like doing damage, doing damage, doing damage, and then when he gets this mute account, I'm kind of helpless because he's going everywhere, he's picking everything off, and if I make a few mistakes, then he gets ahead, and then I'm trying to deny bases, but the mutas intercept the drops. And he's crazy, man. He's so good. I need to ascend again, and I'm almost at the level to do that. But I didn't take any games off him today. So yeah, seeing someone like that is definitely really good for me.
So have you fought any like big time players over in Korea like MC, MVP, and ST, anybody like that?
I haven't, unless they smurf a lot. I played a Protoss called Page, and man, that guy was good. He had like a 85% win ratio or something crazy. I'm not sure if that's actually it, but he was so good. He was a Protoss, and he's at that caliber. I think he was very scary. But I haven't played any of them. Hopefully soon. But like I've played Huck and Jinro and Sase, Phoenix, and then there's like a lot of other Koreans I've played.
So what do you think of the foreigner scene kind of growing a little bit in Korea? Do you think that it's going to remain steadily growing and we'll eventually get to a point where we can compete with them, or is it just a fact that they're so far ahead and they work so much harder at the game that we're probably just never going to catch up?
I think we need to get players. Like, I think somebody needs to just step up, and if you want foreigners to be really, really good, well, you either get them into, well, I don't know. The problem is, too, is that a lot of the people who are going to Korea don't even speak Korean, and how are you going to converse about the game with the people who know more than you, you know? So maybe a better idea would be to get every single good player, every single foreigner, and put them all into a house, like whether that be, Huck, Thor, Zane, Nanawa. I guess they all are together. And then who else is good? I'm not even sure.
Phoenix looked
Um,
really well in his TV matches over in Korea, so I think he's coming around. He also did get signed by IM,
yeah, that's
so
pretty cool.
he could be somebody to really watch out for in the future. But
Yeah, he
yeah,
really made me think about my Terran versus Terran matchup because I played him the other day, and he like the way the transition he did into Banshee in Terran versus Terran. It was like mid late game. I was like, I'm gonna do that, and I'm going to do it better. And like now, I've been doing that and just like absolutely destroying people who don't play the matchup correct. Uh, I played Keen in a few games today, and like, I don't know, I did it to him, but he had air control, so it was kind of like didn't work out very well. I like show up, I'm like, yeah, I have 4 Banshees, time to die, Keen, and then he has like I don't know, like 15 Vikings to my 10. That didn't go well.
well, right on. Now, do you mostly just take stuff from other people in matches that you play against them, or do you watch pro games and kind of pick at their strategies a little bit? What's your, I guess, your involvement in terms of strategy being integrated by watching pro players play versus you playing against other pro players?
I've mostly developed all my own builds right now. Like I take pieces out of other people's builds that I see, like in Terran versus Terran and stuff, or even in an online match. Like if I'm watching the MLG finals and MMA is playing against someone, and I'm like, oh, he has an interesting way to play Terran versus Zerg or anything like that. I'll pick that apart. Like even the way they move their units and stuff. Like it's really important that if you're not that good yet, you need to invest a lot of time into watching GOM like the Code S games and don't focus on like Artosis's and Tastosis's hilarious commentary. Like focus just on the game and try and emulate the exact build that Terran is doing and do it 20 games in a row against that race, like every single game, and then find out what things you need to change, like from what you see. Like he's going Roach Rush, what do I change? He's going Baneling Bus, what do I change? He's like teching to Infestors fast, what do I change with this build? But keep doing the same opening build and just like see where you have to take it, and eventually you master the build and it becomes your own. So it's really, really important for you to watch VODs of the best players in the world. If you don't, well, I guess you could make up all your own builds, but they're putting more time into the game than you are. The chances are, and they're playing against people who are incredibly good. So it's good to watch their games. I need to do that myself. I need to go and watch how the game has evolved a little bit because I've been so focused on my practice that I haven't had time to get on and watch some GOM games, see if I can learn anything from them. But I definitely have in the past. It's important.
So in terms of how you'd evaluate your improvement over the last couple of months, where were you like 2 or 3 months ago versus where are you now? Like, did you go from any specific league, or I guess just kind of give us a little bit of insight of how your rising has come in the last few months or 6 months or however long you've been, seriously dedicating yourself to get better at this game.
Well, I don't know. It's weird because like I was playing in North America a lot of the time, and I'd be at like number 5 on the ladder a while ago, and I'd always be somewhere between 5 and 140. It was like it fluctuated so much because basically I would just do all these builds, and some of them were gimmicky, and it was all about doing all this damage and getting myself ahead, and then playing the game from there and easily winning or falling apart and losing. So over the past 2 months, I've really just focused on my mechanics and playing against someone neck and neck. Like going for these macro builds and just outworking them, because I think that's how you get good at the game. You need to outwork your opponents. You need to play harder. Oh, excuse me. Have higher APM and just pretty much outwork your opponents. Is there anything else I can say? I don't know. Like I'm a much much better player, but like right now I'm feeling like I did when I played Brood War towards the end of Brood War, where I was mastering things and I felt very strong and I was beating a lot of good players and I was confident. And right now I'm very confident. And I know if I played me in the past, right now, I would just destroy him because he was kind of gimmicky. Like I had good builds, I had decent macro, but now I find myself to become scary. That's good. I like it.
So was Brood War what got you into StarCraft 2? Is it just kind of, hey, StarCraft 2's coming out, I should try it out, see if, see where it goes? Or, I mean, what got you into playing StarCraft 2 so competitively? Was it just a natural skill level wanting to be developed, or what happened with that?
Pretty much, I wanted to. I love playing RTS games, and I knew that if I played, like, if I put the amount of time I put into Brood War into StarCraft 2, then I could become one of the top players. And I couldn't for a while because I had a really shitty computer. It was garbage. But now that my computer's good, I have nothing holding me back, so I'm just putting all of my time into StarCraft 2. But it's all about the competition, man. It's all about playing those crazy games, and I love it. I live for it right now, and I love playing really, really sick games. Like it's so much fun to me, and that's what keeps me around, what keeps me entertained, and keeps me dedicated, keeps me grounded.
So give us an example of some games you've had recently that you would call like super crazy, or I always love to ask this of people that come on the show. Is just what are the kind of the weirdest games you can remember? If you could just give us a quick rundown of maybe one or two of them.
Well, the games that pop into my mind happened like 4 months ago, but this is just funny. Like I used to get six pooled a lot, and I remember this one game where Sizz, he's like a European player, he six pooled me close position on Metalopolis, and I floated off my command center, and he took 8 Zerglings and 6 drones and attacked me, but I had like 2 barracks set up at my ramp. And I floated off my command center, and I left it there for a second. He was going killing my depots. It's like, wait a second, I have 1 Marine and 1 SCV left, and I floated my command center over and created the block and locked him into my base with his 6 drones and 8 lings. So I ended up winning the game because he couldn't get out because of the 1 Marine there, and he just left. He didn't GG or anything. He just left the game. It was hilarious. I was like, man, I'm the best. Like I'm probably like the best player in the world right now. It was a lot of fun. But in terms of crazy, like I consider crazy now like long macro games where drops and like everything that can happen will happen. I like those games, and I play them every day on the Korean server. I play a lot of really competitive games, and I get cheesed a lot too, especially against Protoss. Protoss are vicious on the Korean server. Like if you're not good at defending cheese, well, get a Korean account and keep playing against it.
Go
So,
die for a while.
yeah, yeah. I like ascended in Terran versus Protoss to the point where unless you do it really well, I'm not gonna die, and I will get ahead. Um, yeah,
What,
that's pretty much. Well, yeah.
I'm sorry. What kind of cheeses are you referring to specifically?
Void Ray all ins, the DT all in, and then there's like a 4 gate or like a 4 gate. I don't even know. There's yeah, well 4 gate of course, and like 2 base all in. Then there's like these 1 base Colossus attacks, and there's just so many things. And, like you scan their expansion, and it's not there, and you're like, oh shit, here we go again. And then the attack comes, and it could be like there's a lot of immortal all-ins going on now. and I'm thinking, man, this is only going to get stronger. And I always barely beat them. It's like they go one gate robo into three gate robo, and then they get a bunch of sentries plus the immortal. So when they get to your base, they just force field everywhere, and like you're not getting the proper DPS in, and then they just slowly wear you down, and then you die. But yeah, everything, man, it's crazy.
Do you release replay packs very often?
I do. I actually released a replay pack. Well, not very often, but I released one this week actually. There's a thread on Team Liquid called GosuKyhol replay packs, and I just uploaded the op. And yeah, I put in a new replay pack. Games consist of, let me check. Should be here somewhere. Here we go. Games against Select, The Best Foe You, Keen, Slush, RSVP, Core, Artist, Page, and Check Prime. And I didn't put in too many losses. Like I beat all those players, but and then I put like my last 10 games in Korea, I think, on top of that.
So who's this player? I keep forgetting his name. I know you say it, but then I'm trying to keep my mind spinning here. You said you saw he's a Protoss player on the Korean server. You never really heard of it. Was super super good. What was his name again?
Page.
Page. Is he affiliated with any team, if, according to his ID, or
I have
like who
no
is
idea.
he?
It's probably a Smurf account. I don't talk to anyone because I don't speak Korean, and I don't really know much about any of the Korean players. I just know about their gameplay, and that guy was good. Like I play Protosses, and I destroy them late game. I outwork them and just out micro, and he was scary. Like I was microing, I was doing really well, but I felt helpless after some of the engagements. I was like, how is he doing this? Like he's getting these storms off, and I could never see where the Templars are coming from, and it was just he's really good.
So what's some cool stuff you see around the ladder that you think is going to start catching on a little more? I mean, we've already addressed the immortal all-ins and stuff like that, but what do you think is going to get more popular that you might have seen in a game where you said, wow, that's a really nice strategy? I think that's going to get more popular maybe when a TV game happens and that goes on.
Mm. Um, I don't know, man. It's all like the only thing I know I will see is people playing really well. It's hard to say because I see so much, and there's nothing that really sticks out and says, "Wow, that was amazing." It's all about like what leads up to that. Like maybe I made a mistake which made his build strong, or it's there's nothing that I really think is going to catch on and be like super scary. But as long as they play really well, no matter what you do, you can do well. Um, that's the way it is in my mind. Yeah, like I nuke rush people and beat them. Like I beat Koreans with nuke rushes. It's hilarious and fun for me. But
I'd love to see if you have any replays of that, because I love watching nuke rushes, and I'm sure anybody that does loves watching it. You know, I had IS Time on here a
hmm
couple weeks ago, who's a Protoss player. I'm sure you probably played him before.
hmm
Um, he was saying that he's going to go to the next MLG and he would bust out a particular strategy for us. He was going to mothership rush against Zerg if he ever gets a stage match in an MLG game.
hmm
If you happen to get there, give us some insight of what you might pull. I don't want to hold you to a promise in terms of you have to nuke rush somebody for us, but it would be really funny to see what you'd had planned. If you, I guess, it would only go for more like stylistic players. But
hmm
do you have any builds in mind you'd like to pull in very specific situations, just to catch somebody off guard and just to kind of throw your name out there if people had, not really heard of you on the MLG scene?
Well, what I could do is I've thought about this too. There's two builds I could do as long as I do them perfect. And one's against Zerg and one's against Terran. They're both nuke rush builds. And what it is it's let's say we're playing on Tal'Darim, Terran versus Terran, and he's like, "I'll do a fast expand because that's what people do on that server. I mean, in that matchup." So he goes for a fast expand, puts a bunker down, and I show up, and he has like Hellions and Marines, and then I nuke the bunker, and after that, then I have concussive shell Marauders, and I just run in and just do as much damage as I can with snipe. And if he goes if he goes banshee cloak, then I EMP the banshees along with the snipes and the SCVs. So it's like a 3 ghost, 6 marauder, or 8 marauder timing rush, and I can't even go hellions with that if I want to. That's Terran versus Terran, and that like it's possible I can bust it out. I don't know if I will. I think I'd rather do a nuke rush against Zerg because I can throw a Zerg off really well. Like it will look exactly like I'm fast expanding. Unless you can get an Overlord to my expansion, you will have no idea that I'm nuke rushing you because it looks exactly like it. Like I even watched the replays and I'm like, yeah, he thinks I'm fast expanding. It looks exactly like that. But in fact, I'm nuke rushing you and I'll be at your base before you know it with like Mass Marine, Hellion, Ghost, and it's pretty hard to stop. I've beat a lot of people with it. I beat Idra with it, but that was a long, long time ago. But I beat Koreans like a nice bit of the time with it, but I haven't done it in probably 2 weeks. So if I'm going to do it in MLG, I'll have to practice it like 50 or 60 games, make sure it's perfect, and then bust it out.
I would love to see that. Even if you just did it in the open bracket somewhere and posted the replay somewhere, I would love to see that. So that would be awesome if you could do that.
Yeah, I'd like to do it if I was like in a best of 5 and up 1 game. And then I'll be like, yeah, or even up 2 games. I'm like, okay, I can bust this out. So maybe in tournament play online I could do it, but I don't play in tournaments very often. I'm very focused on becoming better. Like I'm not interested in winning tournaments until I know that I'm good enough to win every tournament I get in. And I'm almost there. It's just certain things need to change before I can do that.
I have two questions stemming really quickly, or I guess one of them is just a comment. But if you were playing that in MLG, they have the extended series that you could possibly do that in if you like 2-0'd somebody in the
Yeah.
open bracket. So that would be a really good opportunity if you're ready to bust something like that out. That'd be so
Yeah.
hilarious to see. I would love that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, if I was up 2-0, I'd have to. I would just be like, okay, I can throw 1 game, but it's not even like throwing a game. It's like taking a chance because maybe the win rate of doing something like that could be, if it's like 33%, that's actually pretty good. But I'd need to practice the build a lot because if I do it, it has to be done perfect. And if it's not done perfect, then I'll just stick to my normal play. So I'll put some thought into putting. I'll put some thought into putting thought into going nuke, right?
Well, I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything, but
No,
it would
no.
just be it'd be really really funny to see something like that in a stage match from. I mean, even if you hit a Korean with somebody like that, so kind of the same way that Jinro did to Choya
Yeah,
at Raleigh, I think it was. He did something similar. It was more of a defensive nuke, but he landed it, and it was hilarious. But
yeah.
anyway, I'm getting completely off topic here.
No, that's cool.
Speaking of tournaments, I noticed if you just go to the IPL database, you're of course in there. I noticed that you have a few tournament showings here and there. Most recently, the IPL Team Arena. How did that go?
What's that? Is that league I played against Fnatic in?
Yes. Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. I did pretty decent in that. I was kind of upset because I thought I was gonna all kill them. I've been practicing really hard, and I knew that if I got to play Rain, I could beat Rain. And then I lost to Jay Fang, who he is a really good player. I just didn't time my factory on time, so I was like, I'll go Ghost instead because I panicked. So I ended up losing that game, but I did pretty decent in that. I took out TT1 and Kawhi Rice, and I don't know. I wish I had a better result, but
Did your team
I'll
win
take what
that
I can get.
match more specifically?
We actually didn't. We were up, I think, 4-2, and then Rain killed everyone on our team. And I thought that I was the kryptonite to Rain, but I didn't make it that far.
That's no fun.
Yeah, I thought I was hoping for it, but that's what happens.
So, in terms of your teammates, how often do you get a chance to just play against them in practice games or whatever? Do you test builds out on each other, or do you guys just not really play all that often together? I know we talked about a little bit earlier about practice sessions, but I mean, obviously, people can
Hmm.
practice however they want.
That's right. Well, most of us just practice separately on the ladder, but like I played Gatored probably like 7 or 8 games in the past few days, and I played Wanna Be Cool yesterday, so I do play against them sometimes, but in general, I don't play them often. Uh,
How do you think scheduled practices are going to help your team?
Well, it's like I said to my management. I said that it will help if they're good enough. If they're not good enough, then it's kind of like I'm only helping them. They're not helping me because I'll just crush them. That's how I feel, anyways. So I need people on the team to practice as hard as I do. That way we can actually learn from each other.
Sounds good. Now I know Ostagy did have a sort of, I guess the first real TV showing that he's done, if you want to
hmm
really call it that, in the North American Battle.net Invitational. How do you think that went for him? And did you talk to him about the tournament at all?
I actually never talked to that guy. Like I talked to most people in the team are always on vent, but he's just one of the guys who doesn't get on vent ever. And when he does, he just acts like an asshole. So like I don't talk to him very often, but I think that he was playing really well against Huck, but then after that he tilted. I'm pretty sure that's how it went. And the guy's a stud. Like he's a really good player, and I respect his gameplay. And I'd like to practice against him a lot because I think he's one of the only North American Zergs that can play well. He has good management, and he was a Brood War player as well. I think he was like B plus high or something, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Good. But yeah, I was happy for him, but he did kind of lose every game he played. As mean as that sounds. That's true.
So I'm going to stray just a little bit from StarCraft. Give us your favorite game that is not an RTS,
Ooh.
whether it's growing up or
Oh.
recently or whatever.
Well, Gears of War comes out on Tuesday next week, and I'll definitely be getting that and finishing it. I've finished every Gears of War game. It's really good. But if I was to say like my favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy VII. I loved that game. That was like my childhood. And but like other like Battlefield 3 is going to be amazing. It's going to be so much fun. Like tanks and jets and helicopters everywhere. I'll be on foot shooting people. It's going to be great. But I can't. I don't know. Number one, Xenogears. That game was fucking awesome. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear or not.
Oh,
But
you
yeah,
can. It doesn't matter. Xenogears. I've never heard of that before. Actually, I'm gonna look
it
it
was
up.
an old PlayStation game. Oh man, it's amazing. It's so good, so good. I don't even think I finished it. I think I got to the end. I just like I couldn't get any money. It was like it was just so hard, but it was like beyond its time. You know.
It's apparently a SquareSoft game, RPG, 1998. Hmm. I've never heard of that before, so I had to look it up.
Oh man, it's like I can't even go into it. But if anybody did play it, they would agree that it's like one of the best games of all time.
Sounds good. I'm just going to jump over to a couple of threads and people in chat that are asking specific questions for you that wanted to ask you some things.
hmm
Let me find the first one. I have some weird questions here, so they might just not make any sense. But
That's
somebody
cool.
said they wanted to know your two-on-two builds.
Oh yeah.
He says,
Um.
they said if he asks which one, it's a Hellion Raven, Terran
mhm.
Protoss build. If they have to choose, I guess.
Yeah. Well, if it's like very matchup oriented. Like the only way you're going to be able to effectively go Hellion Raven is if you're fighting against a Zerg Terran composition. Um, like it works out really, really well against Zerg Terran because you go Mass Hunter Seeker Missile and Point Defense Drone. So if they go like Marauders or anything like that, then you can easily destroy them. Well, I can't wait for the buffs. Oh my god. Like my 2v2 is gonna be so scary because I go Mass Raven every game. But yeah, you do it against Terran Zerg, and basically you go for double port Banshee, or you can even ease into it and just go like Banshee Cloak and ease into the Ravens and get Mass Hellions. And the idea is that you're like the support, like you're like the medic or something. I don't know, but you like uh, basically the build is you expand, you get Mass Ravens, you get Mass Hellions, and you just wait for your ally to have the proper unit composition, for him to have Storm and you have Hunter Seeker Missile, and then you like Storm, Hunter Seeker Missile, everything, or he goes Mass Colossus and you go Mass Air, so you have Vikings, Ravens, Banshees, and maybe some tanks would be good too on the ground just for support. And then you use the point defense drones to stop, like if they have those units, like if they have Hydras, Mutalisks, Vikings, Marauders, you know. So you judge how many point defense drones do I need to throw down. If they're going mass Marines, your Hellions destroy that. If he goes mass tanks, well, you have the Banshees and the Ravens. So you Hunter Seeker missile everything. You just destroy the Zerg with Hunter Seeker missile. If he has mass Colossus, then he takes out all those units. Well, he cleans everything up, but you're just like a support. You just need to make sure you get that critical mass of Ravens and don't let him EMP them. You know, you can't just clump them all up and let them get EMP'd because then you lose the game. So you have to be careful with it. But the build generally is you go for 2 Starport Banshee. Your ally goes for Blank Stalkers, and then you be very aggressive with that, and then you go for Hellion Raven afterwards. But the real thing that's delicate is the very beginning. The very beginning of the game, Zerg Terran has the option to cheese you so hard, like so hard. Like they will go all in Ling, Marauder, all in Ling, Marine. Then there's Roach Marauder, Roach Marine. And you just need to scout whether he's going 6 pool, 10 pool, and then you judge, do I need 1 barracks or 2? So it's like at the beginning of the game is more like how many, like the Terran defends, the Terran blocks, the Protoss just goes in his base, you know, techs up, gets 3 sentries. Like I don't know, it to explain all of it's going to take a long time, but there's, you know, that's basically it. I told the composition, and to go over the build, it would take like an hour.
Sounds good. The same person wants to know, why do you not like ProTech?
Oh, it's because he's a scumbag. Like the guy accuses me of stream cheating. Like I practice so hard every day, and then I play someone who can't even hold their own in 1v1, and then they call me a stream cheater and actually point me out and say you're a stream cheater. I'm a fucking A- Brood War player, and he's probably like what, D+ at the max. For a man to go and say that I stream cheat, I don't cheat. I never cheat. I never would, and I never will. Like I don't. If I'm playing someone in a tournament and their stream is up and it's like, please watch me, I won't. If somebody messages me and tells me the build that someone's doing, I'm playing it, I'll fucking leave the game because it pisses me off. I work hard enough at this game to get the respect that I deserve. You know, it's so disrespectful for someone to say to you, "Yeah, because you did this, you're cheating." You know, like I'd fucking smack that guy in the face. That's all I can really say about it. Obviously, it upsets me, but he's an idiot.
Yeah, I hadn't heard any of this history, so I was reading these questions and I'm like, okay, I don't get it. I don't get what's going on. So thank you for sharing that. It's very
Yeah, so
interesting.
I may have put it a bit blunt, but yeah, it just irritates me. I put a lot of time and effort into this game, and for someone who's not even close to the level I'm on to accuse me of cheating, I probably shouldn't even. I should probably like not even listen, but it gets to me sometimes. Especially when he won the 2v2 tournament, and I'm like, oh my god, like the last he hasn't beat me in the last 10 games he's played. It's like no wonder he's so upset. Um, I like the thing is that the guy doesn't understand how the game works. When you're on like a 2v2 map and there's only 2 spawns and you scout after pylon, you see the 6 pool, you counter the 6 pool. You don't just not build anything and let them kill you. So because we scout the 6 pool and like my ally would either go forge or I would go mass barracks. I don't know, man. The guy's a fool.
All right. Well, thanks for letting us in on what was going on there, because I was totally confused at that. I almost didn't ask it, but I'm very glad that I did. uh, I have another question here for you from another one of the people that posted a question. They wanted to know how much time you allot just for experimenting, whether it's with builds or do you just kind of find a build, adjust it, and go and play.
Oh, what was that again? Can you
He
repeat
wants to
that?
know how much time you allot for just experimenting,
Mm-hmm.
like with builds or unit compositions or whatever.
In general, it's not really good. Like you can do like freestyle all the time and like you can win games, but if you really want to get good, you need to pick one build and stick with it and just keep doing it. Do it for like 40 games against the race you're playing against. And some games I do freestyle and just like try to do different builds. But in general, I don't really. I don't put that much time into it anymore. I used to when I wasn't taking it so serious, but now that I am taking it serious, you really need You really need to learn specific builds. So I don't do that much anymore. But maybe an hour every few days. Who knows? Like some days I may do it all day long just because I'm tilting or something. Who knows? But if I find a build that I think is really strong, then I'll stick with that one instead, and then do my other build sometimes. Because I have more than one build in each matchup, but it's because I've spent so much time on each build. Like it's not like I just do this build randomly. It's I've done this build over 100 or 200 times. That's why I do it. But this other build that I do, I've done 70 times. Which build do I choose in a tournament? Well, I have both of them, so I don't know.
So
That's the only way I can
I'm
put it.
just going to deviate just a little bit. In terms of the number of builds that you can actually run successfully, how many do you run per matchup, per se? Or is it just the same one that has a whole bunch of options?
Well, in each matchup, I think having three or four, maybe five would be best. But that's a lot of time to put into it. But over time, it works out like that. Like it works out to not be that big of a deal. But like in Protoss, Terran versus Protoss, I have builds that I don't do anymore. But in total, I probably have like five different builds that are good. In Terran versus Zerg, I probably have like 15, just because there's so much you can do to a Zerg to punish him. But my top build's probably four. I have a really strong mech play I beat Czech Prime with in a tournament, and that's I don't do it anymore, but it's pretty sick, especially with the Infestor nerf. I'm probably going to start doing it again. And in Terran versus Terran, I have a lot of different builds, but I think the strongest way to play Terran versus Terran is to fast expand, absorb what they're doing, and if they're not doing anything, then you get aggressive. I think that's the strongest way to play Terran versus Terran because like you can go for really quick cloak banshee and stuff, but I don't find it that strong. I think the blue flame hellion is your strength, but it's also good for defense and like let's say somebody blue flame hellion drops you and then you clean it up and then you kill the dropship with your Vikings. Well, that's not coming again for a while. That's a lot of money they had to invest into another one, which failed miserably. So now you get on the aggression, like you go in front of his base. He's like, oh shit, he's going to attack the front, and then you drop his main. There's I don't know. There's so much. I could talk about Starcraft all day.
Hey, that's what we're here for. So
That's right.
just pour it all out for us. We love to hear it. Another question here is if you were entering tournaments, how do you physically or mentally prepare for them? I guess what they mean by that is to not get yourself rattled or have too many nerves when you're ready to play.
Well, I get this like sick focus. It's kind of scary, but it's it's like I'll put on music and aggressive music. Like I've listened to metal my whole life, so I'll put on like a really good metal song or something like that, and I'll physically pump myself up. I'll jump up and down. I'll know in my mind that whoever I play against is in for it, and then I just go and do it. But the only reason I can do that is because I practice so much. Like I have these builds, I know how to do them, I know how to do them right, and when I pump myself up, when I go into that game, I'm gonna do that build perfect. The only way you're gonna beat me is to outplay me, because my build will be flawless. I'm not gonna mess up. And we go from there. But music's a big thing for me. Maybe getting your heart rate pumping, and if you're in a tense situation, your arms start to go numb and you're like, oh God, it's kind of taking over. Get up and like do the same thing or put on music and just keep going and going through that. I don't know. Because like, well, I don't know. My arms used to go numb whenever I used to play in tournaments, but I think it was because majority of the time I was hungover, but I don't drink anymore, so it hasn't really been happening. Uh, so that's all I can really say about that.
All right. One other quick question is what drew you to Terran? Did you play Terran in Brood War?
No, I played Protoss in Brood War, and basically what drew me to Terran was Protoss versus Protoss. like, I was playing Protoss. Well, I played random. I played about 500 games in the beta. I played random, and my best race was Zerg. Uh, and well, Protoss, I had really good Protoss versus Terran and Protoss versus Zerg. And then Terran, I just found really fun. Like I was like nuke crushing people and like doing all these cool builds. And then I realized that I fucking hate Protoss versus Protoss, man. It's like it was just the worst matchup ever because I just wouldn't forgate. So guess what? My win rate was zero. I wouldn't win a game no matter what because every single person I played against four-gated. So I said, I can't do this. Like I'm not going to just join the four-gate. I'm I'm just going to switch to Terran because Terran versus Terran was really fun for me. So basically, I liked the mirror matchup in Terran with Terran better. Terran versus Terran was really fun, and I was really good at it. And I really, really liked Terran versus Terran in Brood War. Like I was A minus Starcraft one player, but I played Protoss. But I could play Terran versus Terran at a B plus level, which was also very, very high because it was so intriguing to me. Like the siege tank battles and the waiting, the patience, and then like doing like really important drops, putting like turrets everywhere and map position. It's just a lot of fun to me. Like even when I watch Brood War now, as long as like if you watch two Terrans play like in a 45-minute game, man, it is tense because you a lot of the times you don't know because they're both like maxed and like anything could happen and these massive drops come and then like that Terran steals that position and then the other Terran steals another position. It's like, oh, what do you do now? So it's more like chess.
Yeah,
That's
you're
what I like.
preaching to the choir here. I love late game Terran versus Terran. And there's no
Yeah.
other matchup that has that kind of capability, so completely agree with that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I think that we're pressed for time here, just a couple more minutes. One last thing I'm going to ask you real quick, and then we'll get to our shout outs and whatnot. You can plug your stream and your
Hmm.
team and whatever else you might be doing. And that is in the GSL, they basically make you go through. If you're playing in the GSL, you have to veto certain maps, and you can in some tournaments you can pick your own maps. What are your favorite maps and what are your least favorite maps?
Oh God. See, this is one of the bad things for me because I'll start with my least favorite. My least favorite maps are MLG Metalopolis, MLG Shattered Temple. Like, and I'm going to MLG, and I can't stand those maps. Like, I think that I just really don't like them. That's pretty much all I can say. But I've had them vetoed for a while. I haven't used those maps in months and months, so I probably should start using them. But least favorite maps, those two, Backwater Gulch. Um, that new not searing crater the new lava map is ridiculous like it's just stupid I find
Yeah, I agree.
it's such a weird map man
I
like
think
you
it might actually be Syrian Crater. I don't even remember it because I played on it during the PTR when they were revealing all the maps, and I'm like, well, this sucks. As soon as it comes out, I'm just going to veto it. Forget about it.
yeah
I think it actually is Syrian Crater. Let me look it up.
and then there's that like blue map the crypt map Nerazine crypt I think and close air position that map is terrible too like it needs to be cross position for that map to be good and when it is cross position the map's actually pretty fun like it's a good map but if you're close air position stupid if you're close spawn then it's also kind of dumb.
Would you like to see Blizzard bring in more of the tournament tested maps as opposed to just making their own?
Yes.
Is that a
Yes,
dumb question?
please. Yeah, it's not a dumb question. It's a perfect question that should be posted on Blizzard's forum every day. Like they need to do that. Like they need to include like Belcher Beach, Terminus Re. What's that other map? Crossfire needs to be put in there, and Crevasse, but Crevasse needs to be fixed. There's one spawn that's completely imbalanced, which is the bottom left spawn versus the bottom right spawn on Terran versus Terran. Bottom left has a sick advantage. I played in the tournament against a guy, and I was like this is fucking stupid because like you can siege up tanks on one spot in one spot, and it's like you can't even like go down your ramp anymore, and you're on three base at that point. So are they but you can't like you have to like kill your rocks. I don't even know, man. It's a terrible, terrible spawn. Um, but yeah, a lot of maps need to be removed. And my favorite maps on the ladder right now are Antigua Shipyard. I don't remember the name of the map, but it's like a symmetrical four-player map, and it's a new map.
It's
I don't
probably
remember.
Abyssal Caverns because I think that's the only one we haven't
Yes.
mentioned yet.
Yeah, Abyssal Caverns. I like that map. Some people say that they don't, but it's fun for me. I play a lot of good games on it. And Shakura's Plateau is a good map. I don't like the middle of the map, but that's just because, like, I don't know. Why I always get caught off guard. I'm like, I don't have the watchtowers. Should I even try to go to the middle? And then if I don't have a scan, I have to wait. Um, and what else? Any maps that's big. Like I'm a macro player, so I like Tal'Darim as well. That's a good one.
I don't know many people that don't like Tal'Darim. I think that's the shining example that they should start implementing more GSL maps because it came from GSL,
Hmm.
and they made some rare exception where they're like, "Hey, let's put this in the ladder," and everybody loves it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why they don't
Yeah.
just pull them all from tournament make
Like
tournament
I'm
makers.
wondering like if what Dustin Browder does is he just makes maps. He like sits down. He's like, oh, this is a great map. I'll put like like the debris everywhere. We'll put rocks here, and they won't be able to take that expand, but they can take this one. Yes, because it's out of the position, or it's out of position. It's hard to take. I don't know. It's crazy,
I know what
but
you have to do. You start with 400 minerals and your starting workers. You have to kill rocks to land your command center.
yeah, I've actually thought of that. Like, or like starting in the middle of the map and having to like long distance mine, just like a bunch of ridiculous stuff. People just six pool all day long.
All right, man. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. We do like to do shout outs at the end of the show, so go ahead and plug your team, whoever, your stream, whatever you got. Who you shouting out to today?
Well, I guess my team. It's Gosu Esports. We're gonna be doing big things in the future. We have like really big stuff in the making right now. So I'm gonna stick with this team for as long as I can. I'm gonna try to do my best. And who else? Well, I guess a shout out to all my teammates. A lot of them work hard. Some of them don't. Some of them should work harder. Some of them should get on vent more. um, and shout out to the people who've helped me along the way, like my friend Eddie and Kevin. Uh, and aside from that, I guess shout out to our sponsors. I don't even know what our sponsors are. But shout out to them. Big shout out to them.
It's
Um,
Max Integration and Steel Series.
Max Integration and Steel Series. Thanks, guys. Uh, aside from that, like I don't have too many shout outs. Everyone knows who has helped me, and I appreciate it, whether I say your name or not. I know who you are, and it's not like I won't talk to you if I see you in the street. And I'll see everyone at MLG Providence, and I'm gonna try to take it as far as I can. I work my ass off, and we'll see what happens then. Thanks for having me, by the way. I appreciate it because I don't get that much exposure. Like I'm lucky to get over, 5 viewers on my stream, and I've been streaming every day for a month, maybe 2 months.
Well, thanks for
But
coming on, man. I mean, this is why we have the one day of the week set out for people to come on and hang out. So we'd like to have you on in the future if you don't have too much going on.
yeah, that'd be cool, man, for sure. Well, I'm still gonna be practicing until November, so between now and then, if you want to do it again, let me know.
Definitely. As far as my shout-outs, thanks to everyone that listens. Very pleased to see the rate that we're growing in the last little while. If you guys want more of us, you can check out our radio show archives on iTunes. Just search for StarCraft 2 Radio. You can follow us on Twitter, although I don't really do much on there except for announce shows, but it's at StarCraft 2 Radio. We're going to get some more stuff on the site so you guys can interact with us more directly. So look out for that. But yeah, I think we're good, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone watching too. I didn't say that, but yeah, it's all about the fans, man, and people who enjoy the game.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully, maybe I can pull some strings and make it out to Providence. And for those of you guys that are not aware, MLG Providence is November 18th through the 20th, of course, in Providence, Rhode Island. And I guess it's their like national championship thing, and they have a huge
over $100,000.
yeah, they have a huge prize pool for that. It's the biggest one MLG's ever done by far. It's a $120,000 prize pool, so should be an amazing event. I hope they have a large enough venue to, prepare for how big this is going to be. It's going to be a huge, huge tournament. So we really, really hope that you do well in this tournament, so we can see some new crushes on stage, man.
That's right. I'd like to do it. I'll have to put a lot of time and thought into it.
Nah, don't stress yourself too much.
Well, I already have the builds in my mind. I just need to perfect them again. Excuse me.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We're going to go ahead and sign off. We'll be back on Monday again at midnight Eastern if you guys want to join us live, or you can always just catch our podcast on iTunes. Thanks for coming out. We'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Destruct in 5, 4.
Uh-oh.